potential. So business users who start with electronic in a matter of days or weeks can understand how many processes, repetitive processes they have to automate and what's the automation potential. I actually would be happy to share you how the result looks like. I'm sharing my screen right now, and what you see here is essentially your account at electronic.com. I have the same as others. It's pretty much a place where all the data from all discovery bots in my company aggregates. So I can see by app, that's by the way, Salesforce, by employee, what kind of processes our tool believes could be automated. And they already ranked by automation potential, so you can see how much time you can save a day by applying RPA technology to certain things like copy pasting between Salesforce and Excel, or completing web forms, or any other activities that you typically will be automating with RPA. You can see employees, when exactly they worked on something. So it doesn't produce the workflow, but without any effort, you just invited users to the organization, you get the ranked list of RPA opportunities. So it's very easy to start automating. You don't need to think twice. It's pretty much find the biggest low-hanging fruit and automate it. And to get here, what you really just need is to invite users to your organization. By the way, what you see here is an electronic cloud account. It also has orchestrator, allows to manage the team, and many other things that you would typically find in automation hub of an RPA tool. This is available for pretty much any plan we have. And even the cheapest plan, the starter one, comes with hundreds of discovery bots. So you can pretty much do a quick scan of the whole company to figure out where the automation opportunities are, aggregate them here, and then to move forward, driving your IT workforce or citizen automators to address these opportunities.
Right. So Dmitry, let's say on a process we have the human also managing some of the steps, and we have bots coexisting along with the humans managing the process steps. So will this be able to then also give us an indication of the time and effort that's taken by the manual intervention as the one taken by the bot? Can it sort of give all of that statistics?
You will be able to see pretty much the automation potential going down as you realize that potential. So you can pretty much track the results of your activities, and you would see that total automatable time goes down as your automation goes up.
Great. Now, once this is done and we have identified the ideal candidates for automation, the next step would be to architect a solution and then start the development work. So can you just give us some insights on the ease of navigating, the ease of using your studio, or the or creating the algorithm on the electronic platform?
Sure. So that's why we're basically known for the ease of use. Easy in RPA means you don't need to be that skilled. You don't need to have that much training to start automating. And that means you probably don't have that much IT experience. So for us, and I'm going to demo you a pretty complex task that usually takes some time to develop on other platforms, like building a tool to grab data from invoice and assign it to certain variables, and then to put it somewhere in your computer systems. We made it that easy that you don't need to think about variable type, a container, where that belongs. Is it local variable? Is it global variable? Because those who use electronic, they typically would be in IT function and back office. They don't have that much experience. So we want to empower them to be able to address these big automation opportunities that we just found. So let me show you how it works. It's a very basic example of how you build a workflow. You pretty much have a sample invoice, and it doesn't matter if it's the same template, is it a bit different variation, is it a bit rotated or whatever. You just need to tell the system that you're going to extract things like address. That's it. You just use your mouse to highlight the address and tell the system that that will be the address to extract. Or for example, invoice number or any other data. And that can handle pretty much a lot of variability. And once you figure out what will be taken from this data, you automatically will create variables that then in your workflow, you can input in any other place to produce meaningful results. All variables pretty much is stored on the right side. An orchestrator, that's again something that we spend some time working on to pretty much limit the functionality to really a few tasks. That what we call RPA made easy, and it became industry recognized based on customer feedback. G2, very popular peer independent review platform, recently released its Q3 2020 rating. We scored number 3 globally on customer satisfaction and number 1 as the easiest to use RPA platform. And I would say that majority of this positive feedback that allowed us to get there came from developer for whom Electronic was the first RPA tool, or maybe the second. So we really think that democratizing technology not means making a cheaper tool. It's making a tool that is easier to use, because in RPA project, the major cost comes from people component of that, from analysis, from architecture, from the design, from maintenance. Maintenance is a big one. I think anyone who is involved in robotic process automation field knows that if you build a bot and it just works and doesn't bother you, it's a great bot, you're very lucky. But things change, your IT infrastructure changes, you need to rework the bots to make them working efficiently. And it's both combination of technology, and we have many tools like machine vision to address that, but also about your own vision for the code structure, how well you work with cycles, with variables. So we focused on that and made it easy. I wouldn't say it's the tool for anyone to automate, but for many people who, let's say, able to build Excel macro, creating a workflow on our platform is not a challenge.
There are so many RPA players today in the industry, and there are quite a few OEM platforms available today. If one has to select Electronic, it will be because of certain striking differentiators. What do you see are the top 3 differentiators for Electronic platform for the developers to be able to build the bots and businesses to be able to adopt them in their processes? If you could, in very simple bullets, tell us the top 3 items, that would be very helpful for the viewers.
Sure. It's easy to develop workflow because we made things like desktop browser, spreadsheets, and OCR really easy to develop using mouse only without keyboard. Second one, it's very easy to start for business because process discovery doesn't require any IT workforce involvement. You pretty much download, invite users to your company, and that's it. The data that I showed you comes automatically. And the third one, that's end-to-end tool. Once you have all the analytics, everything is in one place. It's one product. You cannot separate it. Orchestrator comes with that. So you make the one-time investment, and now you have the instrument to move forward.
Thank you. Number of companies, when they are evaluating automation, they certainly are looking at platforms to be able to deliver at speed. My question here is to do with other emerging technologies like the OCR or the conversational intelligence or NLP or high-end technologies that can very seamlessly integrate with the platform. So can you tell us a little bit more about how it will integrate with some of the other third-party products available in the industry? Or does it also have certain inbuilt cognitive capabilities?
Right, so let's start with built-in cognitive capabilities. So they come in 2 places. First, when the bot executes, that's machine vision to go through the interface. Second one, that's where you find the process. So it's a lot of statistical analysis involved. Really, it's a bit of how and know-how, but we are able to distinguish automatable actions from not automatable actions by looking at process exceptions, variability, and actually how exactly people interact with interfaces. Regarding integrations, I would say that while we, like industry players, and you as very notable figure in the space, in our world, RPA is everywhere. In the world outside of our offices and homes, RPA is still so new story for 99% of users. And I would say that conversational part, cognitive capabilities, AI infrastructure is not something on top of the mind of the people who buy from Electronic. What that people care about is how the daycare can operate more efficiently or how the restaurant chain can manage invoices. Through a very important technology that is in high demand is optical character recognition. Specifically these days when it comes to unstructured data processing. A year ago, 2 years ago, it was a relatively easy sell for straightforward OCR like Google or Microsoft or any other free tool available in the market. You create template, you map the data, you use coding to extract the data. But now everyone wants to have out of the box tool where you put an invoice and tell, I want to extract these 3 parameters from that, or maybe it's purchase order or passport or any other standard document. And that's where Electronics works a lot on building a partner ecosystem. For every specific document, we want to have 1, maximum 2 options that are natively integrated in the platform that you can set up in minutes. Because if it's standard tool to process invoices, from the developer perspective, it's just tell it where the invoices are and what to do with the data you extract. It's easy as that. That's in high demand, and that for us is a big direction.
What is equally important when you are evaluating the right automation platform is the cost of ownership. Can you tell us a little bit more about your licensing model and the cost involved at a very high level, how you go about commercially marketing these products?
So we work with both enterprises, like we have one Fortune 500 client, and the small businesses, and they apparently demand to be different commercial model. For enterprises that are most interested, I think, in our unlimited bot capabilities, we pretty much don't charge enterprises per bot, we charge them per developer seat. But for smaller companies, they really want to solve a problem, and they know that they have one problem and they want to solve it with one bot. We price it pretty much standard in the industry, it's SaaS model. The difference, as I mentioned before, we bundled all the products in one, and we have so much focus on the discovery there that, you know, our cheapest plan comes with 100 bots. Other players just started to provide one discovery bot during the trial period, for example, or they specifically unbundle discovery capability from their cheapest products because they're looking for big enterprise engagements. We really want to have, you know, mid-sized bank, 200 employees, 500 employees, actually a small bank, an ability to quickly deploy discovery process for the whole company. So we really supercharged our commercial model with this huge number of discovery bots. That's a big differentiation. And again, this orchestrator is included as well as most of the features. We really want to differentiate our different pricing plans based on how big is the problem, not what features you want to have in the tool.
The true litmus test, Dmitry, starts once the bot goes into production and prior to production in the hypercare period. So tell us more about the command center capabilities and the ease of support and maintenance.
Yeah, so for us, the ease comes with the idea that IT work for, like, your internal IT team should be the master of orchestrator, because that's them who will be pretty much running the control. Even if unattended bots belong to users, many of them exist locally and we support it, there still need to be a command center. For enterprise grade automation, that's required because you want bots to be, you want to put some critical processes into that. So for us, again, we limited the functionality of orchestrator to essential things. And the essential things would be ability to monitor, to connect, to see the status, to schedule, of course. And what's more important, to see the logs and to see that logs in a very secure manner. So for us, it's really giving IT professionals the ability that they have with any other software. If something went wrong, figure out what's went wrong. If something needs to be scheduled, to schedule that. That's pretty much it.
There are a number of small and medium-sized companies that are watching this session, and they are very, very keen to adopt automation, primarily addressing them. You know, they have this dilemma of whether they should get into automation. Is it going to be a lot more cost attached to it, and or is it going to give them the return on the investment that they make? Many a times they've seen that a lot of this adds up to the overall operating costs of the companies rather than it reducing it. So what would your advice be to these small or medium-sized companies who really want to get into automation but have the dilemma of whether they should now or a little later when they reach a certain scale?
Thank you. First of all, I will tell that if you're in doubt about automating and you find the technology very complex or technologies in general, I totally understand you. They've been complex, specifically in the early days of the technology. But we, Electronic and other players, to try to make them easier for you. So let me explain like how we address the type of concerns that you may have. For example, you think I need to be an expert to start automating, or I need to hire an expert, or I need to find an expensive consultant. Not anymore. Go to electronic.com, register with your account, download Discovery Bot. In a week or two, you will know what's automatable on your computer. If you invite your colleagues, your organization, your employees, you will learn the overall automation potential with the company. No code, nothing, click, download, set, run, see the results. It's easy. Then you start to build bots. First, you focus on the simplest process, like copy pasting between two screens, two systems. You don't need a professional developer to build that. You will choose the one that has the highest automation potential, so your investment in the first bot will pay off very, very quickly. You will be able to actually to track how these investments pay off. Then you will go to the second process, to the third one. Your internal force, or maybe even your business users who never used any kind of programming before, will start to be more and more experiencing. You will be automating things one by one. Yes, at a certain moment, you may run into something that you don't know how to deal with, but we will be here to help. We have extended care service that actually no one has, that helps you to build bots. It's not a free community of enthusiasts else to have that, but we have a dedicated people on the phone, over email, that can not only help you to navigate the challenge of interface or some advanced features, but actually can help you to build bots. You need a bot to move data from one system to another one. We'll tell you how to do it, what blocks to put together. We can actually send you the blocks. Or you can browse our platform and find a lot of presets. You'll find a lot of presets for bots. Easy. A lot of things could be done with a mouse. And if it's mouse, there's no coding because you pretty much highlight something, drag and drop. If it's done right, it's done really well. And in order to make it right, we made the product so easy and simple to use.
Thank you, Dmitry. You make it sound so simple and so easy and extremely encouraging for a whole lot of organizations to get into automation journey. There is a lot of migration happening into the cloud, RPA as a service. Is electronic platform cloud enabled, cloud ready?
So it's actually a hybrid model at this moment. So what I've showed you was People dashboard. It's part of the cloud, as well as Automation Hub and a few other components. But in order to build bots, you need to download a studio on your computer. In order to find processes, you need to download the electronic robot to your computer. So that's local at this moment. It can work on a virtual machine, and we partner with Microsoft to create a more scalable infrastructure. So for example, if you have 100 invoices to process a day and one bot is enough, but tomorrow for some reason you have 1,000, instead of creating 10 local bots, you pretty much scale that bot in the cloud. It happens automatically. You have now 10 bots doing the same, so you can get there. Scalability is a big one. Overall, I think that we're moving to cloud in general, like the whole industry. On-prem is in demand for some very specific client during the security, but I think the overall, with COVID specifically, overall cloud acceptance, overall demand for cloud became much higher. And it's a big opportunity for RPA as other software products move into cloud. Someone needs to bring the data, as you mentioned, data migrations in general. We recently partnered with Sage, one of the largest vendors of accounting software, and that's the specific use case we solve for Sage clients. They have account ledgers, chart of accounts, in any form. Could be Excel table, could be Another accounting software could be a bunch of paper sometimes. In order to set up accounting in cloud, you need to upload all this data. Who's going to do that? RPA bots. We were named preferred RPA provider for Sage because we pretty much were able to nail down that case of moving products into the cloud ecosystem very quickly.
Dimitri, there is so much of consolidation happening today in the automation industry. Microsoft acquired Softomotive, IBM has acquired WDG Automation. So what do you see in terms of the future for the automation industry? And which company do you think would survive in terms of what it's able to bring to the table?
Great questions. So let's start with first. I respect a lot competitors in the space, the industry pioneers. I think what UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and others are doing for the industry is great. I'm more than sure these companies will be successful and happy. Though they will feel a lot of competition from bigger players like SAP and Microsoft. I think if we look and really helicopter view, there will be a few independent players likely going for IPO sometime soon. And at the same time, a few large corporations that really will be fighting hard for first large enterprise clients. And then it will get into mid-market. And when it will get into mid-market, someone probably will try to acquire us. And we already hear a lot of offers from companies that thinking, like, should I have RPA capability as well? There are a few companies that you can think about that still don't have anything. Some of them tried, some of them not. But for any company, having an RPA capability in own ecosystem is great and is pretty much required. So if you're building an ecosystem around your marketplace, around your specific software, having an RPA could be a good step. And just building that capability internally is very hard. When we started Electronic, we thought that RPA is not so hard from R&D standpoint. Believe me, that's not that easy. And out of many players in the market, the top 50, I think really when it comes to competing for clients, there are less than 10 companies globally who can really be competitive because it's not an easy task.
Right. So Dimitri, my final question here to you would be more about your roadmap for the future across the globe, Europe, Asia Pacific, India in specific. Can you give us some more idea about your plans in these geographies?
Sure. So Asia-Pac region in general, I think is the highest growth area for RPA at this moment. I thought before that Latin America would be that market, but at this moment in 2020, early 2020, we see the growth coming from Asia-Pac region. And I think what's very important, India specifically is turning from being the powerhouse of developing RPA solution to a big consumer of RPA. And that's very exciting to see. And I think even share of traffic from India to our website increased from around 10% to 30% recently. It comes from developers looking for new tools. It comes from local companies, large conglomerates sometimes browsing for solution because at this moment they realize that what's automatable should be automated. And you have so much abundant talent to automate that I actually think that overall India specifically has one of the greatest potential for what could be described on a national level as productivity increase. Pretty much what robots create for physical robots, what they create for manufacturing, RPA is creating for business. So definitely Asia Pac is a driver of growth. We don't market in Australia, but we close clients in Australia. We don't actually show any ads in India, but we have strong organic traffic coming from this country. We released the first class on RPA around a year ago. I've recently looked, around 3,000 developers took it. Around 2,000 of them are from India. So a lot of things going on. I actually think it's not late for anyone to get into the race into the career in automation, and local market is very important. I will be focusing on that because that's where the growth are.
On that note, Dmitry, I really want to thank you immensely for taking your time out and coming today and sharing your vision, your views for Electronique and your product line. It's certainly very easy to navigate, easy to use. Wishing you and the team all the best. And thank you very much for making India the automation capital of the world.
It is, no doubt. Just let's say that loud. India is automation capital of the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.